I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
Is the higher creative energy that we work with affected in any way by lunar or planetary cycles?
Well, I mean, higher energy creates planetary cycles. Higher energy creates all of the karma that goes on in the world, everything that goes on. It creates the change of seasons. It's at the source of all creative energy. So you can't separate one from the other. Now, the problem is higher creative energy is a very pure energy. It's not polarized, it's not right, wrong. It has no opinions about the way life, it's just pure energy. That energy will flow through people and be transformed when people use that energy in the world to opinions, to right, to wrong, to what people think, to huge egos, to charisma, so that's what happens. You understand the energy is very pure. And if your chakra system is highly evolved and developed, it flows through you and it manifests as love, as compassion, non-judgment, you know, caring and being kind to other people. So you can't separate higher energy from what goes on the earth, but you can clearly look at other human beings and see how highly developed they are by the way they act and how they interact with each other. Because that energy comes into everybody. Without that energy, there would be nothing alive. And then it manifests according to the development inside of people. So the cycles on the earth are, energy presupposes, energy is first, pure energy from the source of energy in the universe, that which has created everything around us. That's the first, and then what people do with that energy is, depending upon how highly developed they are. And it's the same thing with nature cycles. It's the same thing with political cycles. And, all the crap that goes on in the world, it's all about how highly developed human beings are. And if human beings truly work on themselves and develop inside, there's going to be more love. There's going to be more compassion. We will welcome immigrants here with love in our hearts and find places for them to be. We will welcome people to come. We'll embrace life as this extraordinary teacher, as I say, because we are open inside. Now, if we function with ego and mind, and then we have all these opinions about the way the world is, we all begin to play God. We have opinions about the way the world is supposed to run. Instead of just, it's God's world, it is. I am grateful and feel very blessed that I can receive the energy that allows me to be alive. And I have to work on myself in order to use that energy in a loving, conscious, pure, and beautiful way. And which means people have to get past themselves. That's what really spiritual practice is all about. It's getting past oneself. And then we learn from every cycle. It's God teaching us. Now, this is a very difficult thing for people to come to terms with. Everybody, well, it's always the fault of something else. It's never people saying, "Oh shit, I better do something about growing inside." But it's always blaming it on something. It's always, I mean, if you ever listen to politicians, they're all crazy. Nobody has ever done anything wrong when they're in a political position. It's always blaming somebody else for what's wrong with the world. And then you accept responsibility for your life and you're willing to change, fix it, become a channel for God to manifest in love, sweetness, kindness. That's all this work is about. That's all it's about, fixing ourselves so that what flows through us manifests as love, kindness. I saw a documentary just earlier today about some swamis in India who, some of them had hundreds of thousands of disciples. And all they talk about is the guru is God. And their disciples have to worship the guru because the guru is God. And it's an extraordinary. I remember when Muktananda gave that talk in Big Indian, the guru being God, and Rudy just whispered in my ear, the guru, God is God. The best the guru can be is the servant of God and the servant of his students, which makes service the highest level that one can attain on the earth. Instead of walking around play acting that they're God, so they can control other people and tell them what to do, and generally extract tons of money from people. But I watched this thing, and then I remember Rudy telling me that, and it was one of the most profound things he ever taught me, along with many other things I talk about. But that really was up there in the top 10. And right up there was, he told me, I mean, first I'll teach, then you'll teach in Big Indian next summer, and then we'll show cartoons, you know? And it was very humbling because I realized I could be replaced by the Roadrunner. I better get my shit together and surrender as deeply as I can and understand at best I'm just a servant of God. That's the best I can do in this life. Never forget that. Then we'll show cartoons. That was up there in the top 10 also. Teaching one how to be humble and have humility, you know, when they have a position in life. Does anyone have a question? Anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. I hope the things I talk about are clear. If they're not, tell me, to get clearer in myself if they're not. These are very difficult things to do. Have humility, not wanting a position in life, being humble, that one is a child of God. And if you are a child of God and you consciously live that way, then you have to have very deep humility. And never think for a moment that you're doing it, because everything flows through us. And the more open we are on a higher level, the energy flows through us. It creates more wonderful things. That's our job. That's really our job here. You know, it took me a long time to learn this. You know, when I was a kid, I used to, oh, how could God create a world with all these wars and all this stuff? You know, God created the world, and human beings don't work on themselves, so they're at war with each other instead of learning from each other. And I cracked up today. I read in the media that Trump wants to make Gaza. The guy is mad into the Riviera. I mean, he's a real estate person. He sees an opportunity to make hundreds of millions of dollars by turning Gaza into Miami Beach at the expense of 2 million people that have to leave. And these people are unbelievable. You know, it's really funny, you know, and tragic at the same time, how they lack consciousness. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
I have a question, Stuart, Stefan.
Yes, Stefan.
So, what is our gauge for determining whether an action in the world
No,
for us?
wait, speak up. I can't hear you.
Yes, what is our gauge for determining whether an action that we want to take is a correct action?
You have to,
According,
I'm getting older, Stefan, a little bit deaf here, so you'll have to talk up. I didn't understand the question.
sure. What is the gauge that we can go by to determine whether an action that we do in the physical world is a correct action from the point of view of spirit in harmony?
Forgiveness. Forgiveness. Forgiveness lets the world move forward. Lack of forgiveness creates war, revenge, anger, much lower forms of energy. The ability to open your heart and forgive. It lets life move on. Doesn't mean we have to hang out with the people that transgress. It just means in our heart, we have to let go of it. We have to forgive them. Otherwise, we don't move on. We're constantly locked in this, spider web of anger, you know? And in order to move on, we have to let go of that. And the highest, best way to do it is, okay, they did something terrible. I don't like it. You know, forgive. I mean, if these people in the Middle East would just forgive each other, I mean, life would be very different there. But it's all about religion and my religion and your religion. And and it's just gets crazy. That's one act, the many acts, patience, another one. having patience with oneself, having patience with other people. Very important act that allows God's energy to manifest on a very high level.
Hmm.
And there's one after the other, having compassion, having love, having and that manifests because people do the work that they have to do on themselves to build an inner life to where that is possible to do. Because most people live a reactionary life. It's cause and effect. Somebody says something nasty and we respond with something that, in the sense, so we respond to the external world, to the Maya, to the illusion that determines how we function, instead of listening and learning. And what is it teaching me? Why am I attracted? Some son of a bitch who's cursing me out. What in me is attracted that? And then, okay, that person is being sent there by God to teach us something about ourselves that has to change. And when that thing changes, you start attracting different kind of energy in life. Now, this is not easy to learn, and it's much easier to just cause and effect, being reacting to light and darkness in the external world, and not finally coming to the realization it's just a mirror of oneself. That's all it is. It's a mirror of oneself. And as we change inside, the mirror image changes. We see a different world. And that truly is a way of serving God. Because then we recognize whatever we see is there to teach us something about us.
Thank you. That was a great answer.
Does anyone else have a question? There'll be a retreat in a couple of weeks here, so I won't be having classes that weekend, that Sunday. I think it's the 22nd or 3rd. Anyway, it's the weekend of Rudy Samadhi, the 21st. It's a Friday. And for those of you who are not coming to this one and you'd like to come in the future, there'll be another one in April. And I do this every couple of months, usually on my birthday in Rudy Samadhi, that we get a full house. The rest of the time is 8 people, 10 people. So there usually is an open space, So if you'd like to come, there will be another one in April. I think there's 4 or 5 people that have signed up already. Jennifer, how many? 4, 5, 5, 5 people signed up. Are there any more questions? Well, God bless you all for putting up with me. Thank you. It really forces me to allow the energy to manifest as purely as I can possibly. Hey, I'm not perfect. There can be stuff that people don't like. Well, what the hell. But God bless you all for being here, being part of this class, doing this work. Again, as I say all the time, I wish I could hug everybody after the class, go out and have some dinner, have a cup of tea. But, what we have is Zoom. The benefits are there are people here from all over the world The non-benefits is it's better to do this in person. But God bless you all and thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. There'll be a class on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thanks, Stuart. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Good night.
Night.